friends, welcome back. We're talking today Saxon Algebra 1/2, 3rd edition blue book, lesson 55, fractions, decimals, and percents, and some reference numbers that you'll need. Okay, fractions are the same as decimals, which are the same as percent, and we're going to talk about all of that and how they tie together. First things first, we are going to do this example here. 51 over 100th, that is 51/100th. How would I write that as a decimal? Well, anything over 100, you just put in its position. So it would be 0.51 or 51/100ths. You can put a 0 in the front if you want to. I often dropped it, so don't worry about that. So anything over 100, you just put 0.100. Anything over 10, you would say 0.10. Like if you had 7 over 10, that would be 7/10ths, which is 7/10ths, just like that. So the 51 as a percent. Now, percent sign has 2 dots and a slash in it. 2 dots and a slash. That represents, in my head, not really, 100. You've got your 1 and then your 2 zeros. So 51 is always over 100. So if you have a percent, you put it over 100. And once we have something over 100, we easily can turn it into a decimal. So 51%. So if it's over 100, that's just exactly what it is as a percent. Okay, so let's talk about completing this table. The first part, 51 over 100, what is that as a decimal? We already figured that out. It is 51/100th. As a percent, it is 51%. Now, looking at this guy, we have 25%. So what is that as a decimal? Well, there's 2 dots and a percent sign. So we're going to move our decimal 2 spots over. So it's 0.25. And as I said before, there's a dot or a slash and 2 dots. So this is 25 over 100. But notice I didn't put that into this fraction bit. That's because you always want to do your most reduced fraction. This fraction, I can divide the top and bottom by 25, and I end up with 1 over 4. This is a good one to memorize. So 1 over 4 equals 25%. 1/2 is 50%. And 3/4 is 75%. Think about quarters. If you have 3/4, you have 75 cents. So those are good ones to remember. Then they throw this one at you, 1 over 16. Well, I can't put it into a decimal unless it's over 10, 100, 1,000. So that's not going to work. So in order for us to do decimal, you see the 1 is on top of the table. We're going to put it under the table. 1 like that. Now, does 16 go into 1? Absolutely not. So we're going to have to put a decimal and throw some zeros. I'm going to put a couple of zeros here. Does 16, and we're going to bring our decimal up. Does 16 go into 10? It does not, so we're going to put a 0 and a 0 because it doesn't go into 1. Does it go into 100? Yes. So how many times does 16 go into 100? Let's say 6 times. So 16 times 6 will give us 96. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract, and when I do that, I need to bring down. So how many times does 16 go into 40? So in this case, we have 2 times. 2 times 16 is 32. Subtract that, we get 8. Oh, we're going to need to bring another 0 down. How many times does 16 go into 80? If you said 5 times, you're absolutely correct. So that would be 80, which gives us 0. So as a decimal, this is 0.0625. Now remember, I said a percent sign has 2 spots, or 2 dots. 2 dots for 2 spots. So we're going to take this and we're going to move this. So here's what it looks like, 0.0625. To turn it into a percent, we're going to go 1, 2, and move it right there. So it's 6.25%. Percents can have decimals in them, but that does not mean it's the decimal form. No, no, no. That just means there's a decimal in the percent there. Okay, so let's take a look at the practice problems. Here are your practice problems. Pause the video, come on back. Pause the video, do them, and then come on back. Let's start with that one. That's the easiest one. We can turn that into a fraction. Let's do some side work. It is 22/100ths, so we're going to turn it into a fraction by putting it over 100. However, we can reduce this by cutting both of these in half, getting 11 over 50. That's as reduced as it's going to get. So, and I should use another colored pen so you can see, that is 11 over 50. All right, now what is that as a percent? Remember, our percent is 2 dots, 2 spots. So once we have decimal form, we just now need to move it in the other direction 2 spots. So this is just 22%. All right, 1/8 as a decimal. This is a hard one because it's not nice. It's not a nice friendly number, right? Not over something easy like 10 or 100 or one of those factors of 10 and 100. So instead what we do is 1 goes under the table because it's above the table now. 8 here, put a decimal, and let's throw some zeros on there. Bring our decimal up. 8 does not go into 1, but it does go into 10 one time, so that's 8. Subtract and bring down. 8 goes into 20 2 times. That gives us 16. Subtract, and that gives us 4, and when we subtract, we bring down. So 8 goes into 40 5 times. Okay, so the decimal version of 1/8 is 0.125. And the percent of that, remember, 2 dots, 2 spots. We move the percent over 2 spots to get 12.5%. So this is another good one to memorize. Also, you want to remember that 1/3 equals 0.3 with a line over it, or 33 1/3%. And then, 2/3 is going to be 0.6 with a line over it, or 66 2/3%. Those are other good ones to remember. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you next time.